Welcome to The Explainer. If you're looking to understand the anatomy of a truly aggressive, highly capitalized business proposal and learn how to spot the mechanics of a hypergrowth pitch, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating source document, a pitch deck for a company called OTTIMEDIA. According to their own text, they are aiming to completely revolutionize the out-of-home advertising industry. We're going to break down their claims, their math, and their highly specific roadmap for investors using exactly what they've presented in their pitch. Okay. To really grasp the sheer scale of the ambition we're looking at today, we have to start right here. 8 billion euros. The document projects that by their 5th year of operation, OTTIMEDIA is going to hit this staggering figure in global revenue. It's an astronomical claim for a pitch deck, and to understand how they intend to get there, we need to dig into the mechanics driving this proposed hypergrowth. So let's dive right into this. We'll be breaking the pitch down into 5 parts. 1. The multi-billion euro pitch. 2. The core technology. 3. The profit mechanics. 4. Tower owner incentives. And 5. The investor roadmap. All right, kicking things off with part 1, the multi-billion euro pitch. We're talking astronomical claims and high-speed returns here. The source document absolutely does not shy away from superlatives. In fact, this is an exact verbatim quote right from the text, highest short-term profits ever. They present a scenario where traditional business timelines are entirely compressed. They're framing this not just as a profitable venture, but literally as a completely unprecedented financial opportunity. Let's unpack the foundational logic they use to justify that wild claim. The pitch is asking for an investment of between 6 million euros for a 15% stake, up to 9 million euros for a 24% stake. But here is the real kicker. They claim you'll see a full return on that invested capital in an astonishing 2 to 4 weeks of operation. I know, right? How is that even possible? Well, their secret sauce is a pretty unusual mechanism. They state that advertising clients will pay for the entire year of advertising in advance, within the very first week of activity. The goal is to scale this instantly, aiming to wrap 10 to 30 top-tier office towers in major global cities within year 1. Moving on to part 2, the core technology. This is the product that's supposedly powering this whole pitch. Now, to convince advertisers to hand over a full year of cash up front, your canvas has to be absolutely spectacular. So what are they selling? The document outlines ultra-thin, high-resolution smart LED video walls designed for massive scale. We're talking about covering anywhere from 1 to 4 entire facades of a skyscraper. Now, you might be wondering, wouldn't that completely block the windows for all the people actually working inside the building? Well, the pitch specifically highlights that these screens feature a transparent design. They allow 70% of natural light to still get inside while staying highly visible on the outside, even on super sunny days. But wait, the physical screens in the city are really only half the product here. The text makes a huge point that these giant LED walls will be equipped with live cameras. The idea is to transform a local billboard into a global broadcast. They claim these cameras will stream the ads live, in real time, to web and mobile users all over the world, reaching hundreds of millions of online viewers. And because of this dual local and global reach, the document confidently asserts that the product will literally market themselves, instantly attracting major TV advertisers, players like Google and Amazon, without OPTIMEDIA even having to look for them. So that brings us to section 3, the profit mechanics. Let's look at the unit economics behind this exponential growth. All right, so how does this cool tech actually translate into those massive financial projections? Well, the pitch uses a very specific comparison to show off their market disruption. They cite a massive 2,400 square meter screen in Times Square, New York, where they claim companies like Google pay $2 million for just one single month of advertising. By direct contrast, OTTIMEDIA claims their rates will be a mere 17,000 euros per month. The document explicitly states their rates are 120 times extremely lower than similar competitors. They're positioning themselves as an irresistible, absolute bargain for massive global brands. But remember that secret sauce we mentioned earlier? Here is exactly how a low monthly rate turns into massive upfront cash flow. Yes, the rate breaks down to 17,000 euros a month, but advertisers must pay the total annual cost entirely upfront. The pitch calculates that each advertiser is going to pay between 200,000 and 500,000 euros for the whole year, and they have to remit this payment within the first 7 days. So when you multiply that upfront payment by the 30 to 120 advertisers they expect to get on just a single tower facade, you can start to see how they arrive at these explosive initial revenue claims. Let's look at the mathematical breakdown derived straight from their own text, which shows exactly how they project their first year. Even in their absolute minimum scenario of hitting 30 top locations, At 6 million euros per location, they project 180 million euros in total revenue. And their maximum scenario for year one? Assuming 30 locations generating 30 million euros each, they project an incredible 900 million. That's nearly €1 billion right out of the gate. And the text notes a really critical detail for their future projections. They plan to increase advertising rates by up to 100% every single year as locations become fully booked. Okay, part 4, tower owner incentives. How are they securing the real estate? Because obviously none of this works without the physical canvas, right? How on earth do you convince corporate landlords to let you cover their pristine glass skyscrapers in massive LED screens? Well, the document outlines a highly incentivized pitch. OTTIMEDIA promises to pay a base rent of 200,000 euros per facade, which automatically increases by 20% every single year. Beyond the rent, landlords get a 20% commission on any building tenants who end up buying ad space, a process OTTIMEDIA facilitates by sending out a newsletter offering a 10% discount to those tenants. Add to that 200,000 euros worth of free advertising annually per facade just for the building owner, plus an exclusive option to actually become an OTTIMEDIA stakeholder and share in the global revenues. It's a pretty sweet deal for the landlords. Which naturally leads us to our final section, Part 5, the Investor Roadmap. This is the highly specific stakeholder procedure. To pull off this massive vision, they need serious capital. So the pitch outlines an incredibly rigid, multi-stepped process that starts with the legalities. Step 1 is signing what they describe as a highly transparent stakeholder agreement. Interestingly, the text claims this agreement is totally tax-free and already utilized by large corporations. Step 2 requires the investor to sign a deed of participation through their designated notary located in Vienna, Austria. Following that legal commitment, Step 3 is the transfer of the very first financial tranche, a cool 3 million euros directly into a joint audio-media bank account. Then, the roadmap moves into a phase that seems designed to build trust and a lot of leverage. Step 4 has the stakeholder literally traveling to Vienna to personally tour the LED video walls production facility. And then we hit Step 5, which is honestly perhaps the most audacious part of the entire document. The text confidently states that using just a pending patent in the founder's name, the company will apply to the EU Commission to secure a 30 million euro financial support credit. And get this, the text explicitly notes this credit is nearly not refundable. Yes, a 30 million euro nearly non-refundable credit based on a patent that is still pending. That is quite the bold claim. All right, assuming all those steps are completed, we reach the final financial hurdle. Step 6 requires the stakeholder to transfer the second tranche of 3 million euros to officially launch the business operations. Then, Step 7 outlines the physical launch itself, ordering a massive 2,000+ square meter video wall to be installed on a tower facade in a major metropolis. Now, the pitch specifically targets India here, mentioning Mumbai or Delhi, claiming that OTTIMEDIA already has over 20 of its 80+ worldwide representatives stationed right there ready to go. And this all leads to the climax of the business plan, an event the text calls Presentation Day. Once this massive screen in India goes live, OTTIMEDIA plans to invite 5,000 companies to witness the launch in person. The pitch projects that 5 million local people will see these initial ads every single day. The strategic goal of this huge launch event is basically to create an immediate feeding frenzy. They want to convince local companies and building tenants to instantly lock in and pay for their annual ad space all up front, triggering that exponential cash flow they promised us way back at the beginning of the pitch. And that brings us to the ultimate question this explainer leaves us with. Is OTTIMEDIA genuinely poised to orchestrate a global revolution in out-of-home advertising, armed with transparent LEDs and brilliant upfront cash flow mechanics? Or, when you actually weigh the staggering mathematics, the incredibly rigid investor roadmap, and the utter reliance on instantaneous global sales against the very real practical realities of building massive urban infrastructure, is this a pitch that's simply too exponential to execute? It's a fascinating look at how these high-stakes pitches are built. Thanks so much for joining us on The Explainer today. Keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time.